Hi everybody, welcome to Brailsford Family Homestead. I'm Darcy. Today we're going to do some canning from this book here. It's one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. It's going to be the Southeast Asian sweet and sour sauce. Now I used to live in Southeast Asia. I love Southeast Asian food, so I want to definitely give this a try. As I was reading through the ingredients, this is not spicy at all. But in canning, the saying is a pepper is a pepper is a pepper. So if I really like this, I think I'll make it again and substitute some of the sweet bell pepper that is in there for like some Thai chilies or some other hot chili, because I do like some spice. So I have most of my ingredients ready already for this. We do need to prep mince some garlic and grate some ginger. This does call for lemongrass, and I have never used lemongrass. I know I've eaten things with it. I don't grow lemongrass. If I really like this, I may try. So I just picked up some lemongrass paste, whatever, from the store. So if you have lemongrass on hand, you can mince that up yourself. This calls for apricots, and it says 2.5 pounds of apricots, or about 20. Mine, I think, took 18. I'm going to insert some footage of me de-seeding and chopping those here. Since this is a sauce, it is considered a safe practice to use frozen items. So I will be using bell peppers from my garden that are frozen. But also, when I bought these apricots for this recipe, I started to just not feel well. So it was not a great time for me for canning. So I froze them so they would stay in top condition. So that's what we have here. We just need to get some of our other ingredients ready. I have fresh ginger, and I have this ginger that I just peeled, I think yesterday or the day before. It's a little easier, honestly, to microplane this when it's frozen. So if I don't have the 3 tablespoons, I will peel some more. See, that is very light and easy to do. I thought I was recording, and I don't think I was. So I'm going to mince some fresh garlic. This was harvested this year. I'm just going to put it in here, and then if we have extra, we will keep it in the fridge covered in oil. This is my favorite garlic press, by the way. It's the second or third one I've owned. The second one since Joe and I have been married. We just celebrated our 18th wedding anniversary. It's by OXO, and I love it. Not sponsored. we need to put the first 5 ingredients of this recipe into a pot, either stainless steel or enamel, which I'm using my big enamel Dutch oven, to bring it to a boil and then let it simmer. So it'll be the apricots, the ginger, the garlic, and the lemongrass, and a cup of water. But then you can, while that's doing its thing, you can get some of your other ingredients ready, which is 2.5 cups of sugar, 1 cup chopped red bell pepper, about 1 medium, it says, finely chopped, I should say. 1/4 cup of fresh lime juice, which it says it's about 4 limes. You don't need the lime zest, but I would encourage you to zest your limes and freeze that for another recipe at another time. And it does say fresh, it does not say bottled. Then you need 1/4 cup of sambal alec, which is fresh chili paste. Let me show you mine. I might not be saying that right, so whatever, don't come for me. This is the one that I have. So we'll have 1/4 cup of that, and then 3 tablespoons of fish sauce. Now, I have made Asian food for, I mean, not just like kits that you buy in the store, over 20 years, more 20 years for sure. And I have never bought fish sauce. I've just substituted something else, but I bought it today. So this is the one that I got. There was only a few options at my local Kroger. If I would have thought about it, I would have gone to the Asian market, but I didn't have time to do that. So that's the only other ingredient. So we will juice our limes while we're waiting for all the other things to come up to a boil. I've got everything in here. Just gonna cover this and bring it to a boil. I have this much minced garlic left, and I will use that up in the next couple of days. What I usually like to do is just cover this with oil. So if you mince a bunch of garlic, or if you want to save yourself time for meal prep, just cover it in some oil, pop it in the fridge, and then you just spoon out however much you want when you're making your meals. It's like your own garlic. Does my face look red here? It almost feels like I touched peppers and touched my face, which I didn't. I've grated ginger and things many times before. Maybe it's from that. I mean, it's not spicy in the sense of like a hot pepper, but it kind of feels a little, so if you see my touching it, that's why, but I think it is a little red. I wiped something on my face that didn't belong. I washed my microplaner, and I am going to zest these limes so that I have it on hand for other things. There is a marinade and salad dressing that I love that calls for lime zest and bottled lime juice. So I like to have that on hand. So when I want it, I can just grab it from the freezer and I don't have to worry about it. Like, oh man, I wish I would have bought limes. And then we are utilizing all of this and not letting that zest to go to waste. That is the juice from 4 limes. Let's measure it. I don't know about you guys, but I use mason jars to measure things all of the time. Not all of them have marks on them, some of the older ones especially, but this one is a pint size from 4 jars. So here it has the cup measurements, and on the other side is the milliliters, which I never use, but surely somebody does. So we need 1/4 cup of that lime juice. 4 limes was way too much. I guess I'll have to make myself some limeade. There we go for that. We're still waiting on the mixture to come up to a boil. For this chili paste, I need 1/4 cup too. But so I don't have to dig it out of, like, say, the mason jar, I'm just going to use a tablespoon measurement into a small bowl. And 1/4 cup is approximately 4 tablespoons. And the reason I use mason jars for measuring a lot is because usually I'm cooking all kinds of things, and it helps me to not have to wash out the measuring cup a bunch of times because I always have tons of jars. But also the jars can go in the dishwasher. And unless you have a measuring cup that has like the embossed markings on it, if you have one of the Pyrex or Anchor Hocking, they're painted on there, and you're not supposed to put them in the dishwasher. And if you do, like I have before, those markings come off. So I just use mason jars. I'm gonna do the same thing for the fish sauce. It's probably gonna take a while to come out because it has one of those little doohickeys there, and this does not unscrew off, but it is 1/4 of a cup. I wanted to bring you close to show you like how kind of clear-ish this fish sauce was. I thought that fish sauce would be darker. Maybe I thought it would be more like soy sauce, or worse yet, maybe I was thinking it would be dark because I'm thinking of fish sauce for the garden. If you know, you know. Fish emulsion. We're not cooking with that. Ugh. All right, that is boiling and everything is thawed. We're going to simmer this covered for 15 minutes. This recipe is canned in the jelly size, which are called a 1/2 pint. So I've got my steam canner here full of water. I'm going to add a little bit of vinegar. That just helps with the hard water spots that can happen on your lids and your jars. It just prevents that, and then you don't have to scrub it off. I'm going to heat this up so it'll have the jars hot. It's still going to be a little bit before we start bottling this up, but it does say it will make 6 of these 1/2 pints. I need to go wash 1 or 2 more because often it makes more. Sometimes it's less, but sometimes it's more than that. So I like to have an extra jar or 2 ready just in case. Okay, I've let this cool a little bit, and instead of getting my blender dirty, we're going to use the immersion blender. That's hot. Hopefully you can see how smooth that is now. Here's all of our ingredients. I diced those peppers a little bit more. We're going to add this all to the pot. I just want to insert a quick thing in here. If you haven't noticed on my videos, if you see in the description or the comments, it'll have a little button that says join this channel, and that is just to become a member of the channel. No pressure to do that, but for a small monthly fee, it helps me as I'm doing this to keep doing this, and it gives you access to a few fun little perks. And I do upload some member only shorts pretty often, and I do, though it's not listed as one of the perks, I do always give members early access to my weekly videos as well, so they get to see them first. So if you want to check that out, click the join button below. I've got to bring this mixture up to a simmer, and then we'll let it simmer for 5 minutes uncovered. And I was just talking to Joe, and I was like, well, if we like this and we want it to have a little bit of a kick, I can substitute, some hot peppers for some of the sweet. And then I thought it should have a kick because it has that chili paste in it. I don't know what I was thinking, but if we want more of a kick, we can still do that. I had just reduced the heat on this after it came to a boil, so we're gonna let it simmer uncovered for 5 minutes, and then we're gonna can. I've got a hot jar. We need to fill to a 1/2 inch headspace. This is pretty liquidy, but I will still attempt to debubble. Check that headspace again. All right. This vinegar and water. I'm using 4 jars today. This is going in the canner. This video is not sponsored by 4 jars, but I am an affiliate of them. And I have been using their lids exclusively for, I think it's a year now, maybe a little bit more. And as you're needing more canning supplies, lids, pressure canners, funnels, jars, whatever, I highly recommend giving them a try. And if you use my code BFH10, you will get 10% off of your purchase. All right, I'm making a little bit of a mess here, but you know, we're canning. I ended up with 7 jars, so I'm glad I got an extra jar or 2 ready. I'll bring this steam canner up to temperature, and these will process for 10 minutes for my elevation. While that's processing or coming up to temperature, let's do a taste test, of course. I hope we like it since we're gonna have 7 half pints. I don't know how much I should taste. I don't want to like have a whole mouthful of this, do I? Okay, so I have some of the sauce and a bell pepper. It smells tangy. I feel the sourness, and the heat comes after. I think that's good. I'm gonna have to have Joe taste that and see what he thinks. I don't think I've had anything like it before. I mean, there's so many different sauces out there, right? I mean, this is not the red dye 40 sweet and sour that you get at a Chinese restaurant for sure, which I'm glad, but this is good. I'll report back what Joe thinks. Time's up. That looks really pretty. I'll get those all out onto this cutting board. If you haven't used a steam canner, I highly recommend giving it a try. I have 2 of them. I bought a second one that is able to be used on an induction burner because I have a standalone one, and plus I just like having 2 to be able to process more at once. I have an in-depth video on how to get them ready and how to use them. I'll link that here. But it is so nice because it requires less water and it heats up faster, and so you have a lot less humidity and things in your house too, which in the summer for canning season is a big plus. So I'll let these sit for 12 to 24 hours, and then I'll take off that ring, check the seal, wash them, label them, and put them in the pantry. I wanted to show you that I have this much left over, so that is going in the fridge. And in the book, it recommends trying 1 tablespoon of this mixed with like a half a cup of mayonnaise, I think, for a dipping sauce for like chicken or sweet potato fries or something. So we'll definitely give that a try. Joe tasted it and he liked it. I think maybe next time I will cut the bell peppers up even smaller since this is a sauce, but he liked it. It is thick. So if you like a thinner sauce, you might want to thin it out when you go to use it, but I think this will be fantastic, like in a stir fry or just drizzled on some chicken or something. I hope you guys will give it a try. I'm really wanting to make as many condiments and sauces and things like that as I can. I've been bringing you along for that and working on a few. So I don't buy those things in the store, but I like to have the options here just so we're not always having the same old thing and to try new things. I love this kind of stuff, and it just changes a simple piece of chicken or beef or something like that so easily. I hope you'll give it a try. Until next time, God bless.